We were talking about transversals with parallel lines and calculations. First of all, we want to identify if lines are parallel. Then we want to identify congruent interior and exterior angles formed when the transversal intersects parallel lines. Then we want to identify supplementary angles formed when a transversal intersects parallel lines. We want to use the relationships between the special angled pairs to solve for unknown angle measures. And here are some steps that we need to do in order to make sure that we are solving these transversal equations correctly. So the first example, the steps for solving this, step one, check and make sure that the lines are in fact parallel and where the transversal is. So here we have transversal M. So the relationships we want to see are between lines K, the angle relationships between K and L. And this triangle here and this triangle here show that these lines are parallel. So both line K and line L each have one arrow or a triangle, one arrow or triangle. So the lines are parallel. So that was step number one. Step number two is we need to name the angle and identify the angle measure relationship. So is there a relationship? Are they congruent? Are they 180? What's the relationship? So some relationships that we have, we can remind ourselves what exactly they are. And in this case, adjacent angles, when we're referring to this drawing over here, those will be 180 degrees if they're adjacent, but not all adjacent angles are 180 degrees. Really what this should say is linear pair. So I will write that one, linear pair. Oh, we have it right there. So linear pair goes right here. Linear pair sum to 180 degrees. Complementary angles, those are 90 degrees. So we have linear pair, complementary, and then vertical angles, those are congruent. Next we have right angles, and those are 90 degrees. And supplementary, those are 180 degrees. And alternate exterior, those are congruent. Consecutive interior, those are 180 degrees. Corresponding angles are congruent. And alternate interior angles are congruent. So we have 4 that are congruent. We have 2 that are 90. We're not going to see these ones very often. And we have 3 that would be 180, mostly referring to linear pair or consecutive interior. So which one are we dealing with in this case? We have this angle here this angle that's 80 degrees and this angle right here. So cut by the transversal M, and they are on opposite sides, so already we know they're alternate, and they both happen to be interior. So alternate interior, those are congruent. So name the angle and identify the angle measure relationship. In this case, we don't have a name for them, but we can say that these are alternate interior. And these are congruent. Set the equation based on the angle relationship. So these are congruent, which then means they are equal. So we can set 80 equal to, they're congruent, so that means that they're equal. So now we can set them equal, and we can say 80 is equal to 5x minus 15, and then we just go ahead and solve that. So we will start out with adding, we substitute the values in. We didn't have names for these like angle 1 or angle 2, so we're not going to substitute the values in, but we would in that case. In this case, we can just write the equation down, and then we can solve it for the last step. So we're going to add 15, and then we get 95. And we divide both sides by 5. And in this case, we get 9 divided by 5 is 1. 45 is 9. So we get x is equal to 19.